Hello. What is going on? Is Justin live on LinkedIn? Or am I just going to be recording this in the background and going live other places? I think there may be a broadcasting issue. Oh, just kidding. We're live. We're lit on LinkedIn. What's going on, everybody? Hey. Oh, you know what? I even showered today. I got my beard ready because I had to look my best for this interview. We got a few people coming in because today we're going to be getting into some self-care. Oh yeah, so I had to lead by example here. Who is in the LinkedIn chat? Let me know who's in there. You know we go live on LinkedIn so that we get the feedback, the people in the house. Make a comment in the chat. Let me know you're here so I can shout you out on public LinkedIn television. All right. Here we go. Thank you for your patience. We had some issues getting everything over to LinkedIn, but we're here now. All right, showtime, go time. Introducing the amazing Raven Gibbs. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Now, before we even get into this, everyone needs to go follow Raven on Instagram because you've been doing, is it daily Black History Month?
Yes.
Education snippets. Everyone needs to go over there. It's been dope. I've been really enjoying that. So thank you
Oh,
for putting
thank
that all together.
you. I'm
All
glad.
right. So Raven is a mental health change agent
Yeah.
doing beautiful work. Really, really incredible, leaning into what it means to be whole and healthy and well across all spectrums of life. Really excited for this chat today. Before we get into that, Raven, I want to hear your story. What has the journey been? Because I know you were a professional dancer at some point. Like people need to hear this journey towards how you got passionate about working in the space of mental wellness. So give us the backstory.
Absolutely. I'm going to give you the condensed version of the backstory because it's a lot.
Sure.
So, I am named after the first Black ballerina, Miss Raven Wilkinson. And with that, I had no choice but to dance. My mom put me in dance at a very early age. And I cannot lie, I was forced initially. And I got in a lot of trouble in my different classes because of my mouth. And that is still a slight issue to this day, but it's okay because now that is what I do. I talk to people. But I used to loathe going to dance classes, mainly because of my mouth. But I ended up liking it because at an early age, I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety, a generalized anxiety disorder. And I didn't know how to manage it until I really took a deep dive into dance. Of course,
When
we
you
know
talk about an early age, give us a little bit more context. What was that process like, figuring that out for yourself?
that process was scary. I can't even lie to you. It was very scary because you don't understand mental health. And when explained to you, even at any age, honestly,
Right.
it can be quite a confusing subject. So when you hear something like you have a depressive disorder or an anxiety disorder, you're not really understanding that term. All you hear is there's something wrong with me and
Yeah.
I don't know how to fix this. And as a 13, 14-year-old girl, that's not the best feeling. You're already up against peer pressure and issues with your not issues with your social circle, but influence from them. So
Yeah.
knowing that you're different or something is different about you and you don't even know how to fully express it. You just know some days I'm sad and I don't want to get out of bed. And some days I
Right.
just don't like myself.
Mm.
As a 13 or 14-year-old, that is hard to process. So yeah, it was very scary. But I
Mm.
channeled a lot of that energy into dance and extracurricular activities. I realized at a later age that um, the depression that I deal with is high functioning depression. So I pile a lot of things on what I already do so that
Mm.
I feel some type of satisfaction with my life and who I am. Um, so
Would you
how
break that down a little bit more? What is high functioning depression? Because I don't think people hear those terms together often enough, and people may not realize that there are way more people out here with high functioning depression or anxiety or different ways that shows up. So could you break that down for us a little bit?
Yes. The easiest way for me to break this down is my brother, he will call me out and say, Raven, you're doing too much. And I know where this is going. And it's basically me trying to substitute how I'm feeling with work or things that are, they can be constructive, they can be productive, but they're not always necessary. I'm saying yes to a lot more things and saying no to myself instead of taking care of me and giving myself that yes and permission to rest and take care of myself. I'm in my head, I'm thinking, if I do this, I'll feel better about myself because I've used my time wisely. I don't have to think about that other stuff. I'm not sad right now. No, I'm reaching this accolade and I'm able to say I did this or I accomplished that.
Right.
And it's not always the case, but it gives a great facade.
Well, and what's scary to me about that, and I can, relate to some of the, doing things to not think about or not feel or whatever that is that in a capitalist driven society, no one's even going to question that. They're like, oh yeah,
Great.
oh yeah, keep grind culture, go for it. You're doing great. Like, and so it's not going to be seen by most people in this type of grind culture as a symptom of anything.
Right.
It's going to be applauded and like, yeah, you're Forbes 40 under 40 or like whatever.
And it's frustrating because I see these statuses all the time and you hear it in different songs about, like basically team no sleep or you got to grind 24/7. No, you don't. Rest is productive. Rest is absolutely productive because how can you be your best self and take what you're doing to the next level if your mind is scrambled because you haven't even given it the opportunity to rest and process everything that's going on.
Wow.
I refuse to believe in hustle culture. I can't.
Yeah.
I know I need sleep.
Right. To be your best. Okay, so keep going on the story here. So you're 13, 14. You're diagnosed with this, and then you start pouring your energy into a lot of these projects and doing to make you feel. Give us a bit more of the journey from there.
Those projects led to my first crash. I had so many things on my plate where at the time I didn't understand my mom's logic. To me, it sounded like you're grounded. You can't do any of these things that you want to do. But now that I know what I know, it was her protection. And I, of course, couldn't accept it then because I'm a teenager and I want to do all these things. But she was like, rest, stop. I see that you are crashing. She used to see me staying up. There was a period where I stayed up for nearly 2 weeks, just dealing with insomnia. I would take maybe 20-minute naps. I can't even say that, but like a 20-minute nap was all I needed for the whole day. And I would just keep going. And I finally burned out. And I remember coming into my mom's room and it was an odd moment that I don't even know how to describe, but I was like, I don't feel loved. I don't feel like I need to be here. And it was, of course, like I said, a scary moment because I'm like, why do I feel this way? My mom constantly poured into me. My dad poured into me. My brothers adore me. And I still don't feel loved. What's going on with me? Why am I sad? Why can't I do the things that I want to do anymore? Like I feel myself wanting to do them, but I can't. And she was like, oh yeah, we're done. No activities for the next 2 weeks. You are at home. We will figure this out.
What a great mom.
My mom's the best.
Shout out to mom.
Shout out to mom. If she's listening, I'm pretty sure she is. But
hi mom.
Hey mommy. She stopped me pretty quickly. And she also got me started with my first therapist, which was awesome that I was introduced to therapy at an early age before I had the opportunity to face the stigma or face any of the negative that is associated with receiving therapy.
Right.
So, jumping forward, of course, I used dance throughout my life to help balance me. And so how I got started in the professional dance field, which actually turned into me going back for therapy, which sounds...
Oh, I love it. I love it. A little bit of foreshadowing.
So yeah, I went to school at UNC Chapel Hill, and I majored in psychology and sociology with a
Hold
focus.
on. How do you feel about the fact that y'all got your
Uh-uh,
butts whooped by Duke? That was
uh-uh.
bad.
Move forward.
That was bad. I mean, maybe
Horrible.
they were doing a nice thing for Krzyzewski, right? Because this is last year. That was nice.
Oh my
That was
gosh.
nice of UNC.
I was at an event and I was like, yo, the game is tonight. I can't watch the game, but I'm just going to check the score. I
Ooh.
checked at halftime. I said, oh my gosh. I don't want to see anymore. And then I
Right.
made the big mistake of checking again. And I was like, yep, nope, I'm going to not be on social media at all today. This is
All
going
right.
down.
Hey, love to both teams. We love everyone. Okay.
So yeah, I majored in psychology and sociology with a concentration in cognitive science. I was just interested in it, not because I thought that I was going to go into mental health counseling or any of that stuff.
Mhm.
I found interest in it, especially as I'm learning more about my own diagnoses.
Right.
So I went on to dance. I initially thought that I was going to take my talents to law school. But in the last week of my undergraduate experience, I called my mom and I said, hey, yeah, I am going to withdraw my law school applications. And she said, no, you're not.
All right. The hell you are.
Literally her exact words. And I was like, yeah, and I'm going to go dance. No, you're not. And it just, honestly, it was a blow up, and I had to put my phone down and I was like, I'm going to go do this. And that was the first time that I really said yes to myself
Mm,
instead of listening to what other people wanted. I appreciate my mom for pushing me in that direction, but I
yes.
knew it wasn't for me.
Right.
So I ended up going on my first tour, which led to my second, third, fourth. It was back to back tours and it was great. I'm doing what I love. I'm passionate about it. But what you learn as a choreographer and dancer is that you are often everyone's counselor. Um,
Mm,
so I heard a lot of stories on the road. I was always the, shoulder to cry on, lean on, whatever you needed. How can I help you? How can I pour into you? How can I see you
mm,
be the best person? And I have an awesome mentor who was like, use that to your advantage. And he's
right.
a mental health clinician. So I'm like, oh, maybe I can. And I just started volunteering with different things that he had going on. And I was like, I can see me doing this.
Mm,
This is sparking my passion. Like I'm constantly wanting to learn more and grow more. I've never felt that way in any other area of my life, including
mm,
dance. And although I enjoy it and I'm good at it, I didn't take that same deep dive. And so I
mm.
was like, you know what? I'm just on a whim. I'm going to go enroll in school. Let's just see what happens.
Wow.
Let's just see what happens turned into I'm accepted. And then it
Wow.
turned into, oh, I'm really doing well in this. This is 4.0 graduate. Okay.
Right.
So maybe
Right.
I really can do this. And of course, you have that negative self talk in my head. I constantly was saying throughout the whole process, how can someone with a diagnosis as serious as yours? Because halfway through my graduate experience, I got a different diagnosis of bipolar disorder.
Hmm.
And I'm like, how can I actually help someone when I need help myself? How can I be a voice for people when sometimes I don't even know what my own voice is?
Wow.
And I'm like, you know what? That Tell that person no and tell yourself
Right.
yes again. Just like when you said yes to yourself on that tour, tell yourself yes.
Big facts. I want to camp out on that for a minute because I think that's so beautiful. I think oftentimes we feel like the thing that is disqualifying us from moving forward. I think oftentimes the thing that you feel disqualifies you actually makes you qualified, makes you
Absolutely.
more qualified because you actually understand from a like real grassroots level in your own personal life what that feels like, what it feels like to even, be diagnosed at a young age and all these different things that you're going to get to use for the rest of your career to help people where you can say like, no, I kind of get it. Like
Yeah.
I kind of actually get it. And I think that qualifies you more.
Yeah, I love that I've been able to use it more as a driving force. And
Yeah.
for people, my story can actually resonate because I'm not just saying, I
So good.
understand or I hear you. No, I've lived this with you.
Right.
I get it. And though my experience and my journey may be a little bit different than yours, I know what it feels like to constantly have that voice in your head telling you no when
Right.
you know in your heart that you can do this.
Yeah.
I know that. So let
Yeah.
me be that. You know,
I
I
love
love
that.
the quote, be what you needed.
Mm.
Growing up, I didn't see when I was I do have a black counselor now who I'm really excited about. But yeah, she's awesome. But growing up, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
And I know that I would have done better with my counseling experience growing up because honestly I didn't feel like my first counselors understood my experience as
Wow.
a black woman exploring new spaces. I'm a black woman that went to a predominantly white institution. I
Right.
didn't understand myself just yet. And I I could hear what they were saying and I know that they were empathetic to my experience, but they could never really know.
Mm.
So being what I needed is my catalyst for everything that I do. I
Yeah.
want in some point, there may be somebody else that I counsel or that I come across. I may not even, counsel them. I want them to be like, I felt safe and I felt heard. I felt seen.
Mhm.
That is my biggest thing. If I'm not doing that, then I'm not doing what I'm purposed on this
Wow.
planet to do.
I'm so glad you exist. This is amazing. The other piece that I wanted to spend a minute on that I thought was so compelling from your story is you started leaning into what made you feel alive. Like you sense this, like, no, when I do this, I feel really good, or it sparks something in me, or I want to learn more. I find myself up at night researching different things with, and I'm not even getting paid for this. Like,
Yeah.
and I think for our listeners, using that as a clue for
Yes.
what you are on the planet to do is like, what's the stuff that really makes you feel alive? And it might not be that you actually end up exactly in that thing, but you need to pull at that thread. You need to
Yeah.
understand that, right? And then, like you said, it led to acceptance in school. It led to a 4.0, and you're like, okay, now I guess I'm doing this thing. But I love that you had the courage to listen to your soul telling you,
Mhm.
like, hey, there's something here. I care about this.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit more about what that piece was like for you.
I was just telling my brother, I love the word audacity. I do.
Mm.
The fact that you have the audacity to go and chase after your dreams and actually go forth and reach them.
Yeah.
Like, y'all, that is powerful. That's strong. Like,
Mm.
the audacity of you to wake up this morning, even though you didn't feel your best, but you got up and you made your bed.
Mm.
Oh,
Mm.
you got up. Like that
Right.
is
Hold
huge.
on. That's time out. I love that you just paired audacity with making your bed, because like oftentimes we think it's these big
Mm-mm.
gestures, right? That you have the audacity to take this all out risk and quit your job and da da da. Okay, that's audacity too. But we're talking about like real life audacity sometimes. Today, for somebody, it might be having the audacity to make your bed, or the audacity to drink a glass of water when you don't feel like you're worth a glass of water, right? Like,
Right.
that's audacity. I love that shit.
I love it. And I talk to my brother about it all the time. Like, have the audacity to just go live life. Whatever
Yeah,
that looks like for you, to take that moment and just do you, boo-boo.
right, right. No,
I love it.
that's a whole sermon right there.
It
I
really
want to
is.
give some shout outs here to people in the audience. Olufukemi, hello, nice to see you. Kiera Luck in the building. Matthias Payton, what's up? Got some great comments coming in. Keep them pouring in. We love being on LinkedIn Live because of the interactive nature. So
Yay.
keep it coming in. Raven, what's your Instagram? We got people asking in the chat so that they can see your Black History pieces. What is your Instagram? I'm going to type it in the chat right now.
Raven_Nicole_.
Nicole
Simple enough.
underscore. Boom. That's on IG. Just dropped it in the chat. Jamel Cole, what's going on? Good to see you in the space. Glad to have everybody here with us this morning on this beautiful day. All right. let's keep it rolling.
Yeah.
So, what now for you, right? This has been the journey. Where is this leading you now? What do you feel like the space that you're called to step into looks like as you're on this journey?
Well, Ray loves the kids.
Right?
But
Yeah.
the biggest part of, and if the audience doesn't know, I used to teach his kids, his little kids,
Uh,
and I just loved
Congrats.
them.
Yeah, and I was saying my oldest is gonna love seeing this interview.
I'm
She's
so
gonna flip.
excited.
So yeah, it's beautiful.
Give her a big hug, and she knows I blow her
Uh,
kisses.
uh,
So
I will.
that's
I'll
my
make
thing.
sure. I'll show her this. I'll show her this right here. That's
Yay!
perfect.
But my biggest thing is educating, or what's the best word? Having kids be more comfortable with understanding their mental state and having their
Mm,
own spaces their own safe spaces to communicate those needs.
sure.
That has always been important to me. Even when we opened the dance studio, it was never about just dancing. Even the
Right.
name implied, it was motivate, but it wasn't spelled that way. The
Yeah.
motive, the purpose is the 8 count, but it's also about what's inside.
Yes.
So we
Yes.
would,
Dance was the vehicle, but really it's about transformation the entire time.
right. We would
Yeah.
start our sessions with love, end with love. What do you need to talk about? This is a full open door. I've always wanted to create those spaces for kids because I
Yeah.
feel like they go to school, they're told to sit there and they're told to learn. They come
Mhm.
home and generally there's not a lot of time for that full expression of themselves. Um, I don't know. Most kids, they come home, they have to do their homework, they eat, they'll probably go to bed soon after, which is great
Right.
for the parents. But, I've always wanted to tap into that more expressive side and allow them to just be and not
Mm.
be in the way that their teachers want them to be or their parents or even their siblings, to just be and find their
Yeah.
most authentic self and present that.
Right.
Um,
And even learn what that is and explore that. I think that's
didn't learn
beautiful.
that until I was in my 20s, who I
Sure.
really was. Like,
Sure.
no, I would love. I have I call her my niece. We're actually in no way related, but I love the little girl. I love that she is so bold. I
Mm.
admire that about her, and she's young. She's only 6, and
Wow.
I just look at her and I'm like, you are a star. And I want you to
Yeah.
know that your boldness, how you will speak your mind and how you also, create these different things and
Mm.
showcase yourself to the world. Don't ever lose that. And don't let anyone silence you or change you into somebody that you're not. Keep that same fire
I hope
because
somebody watching is listening to this because that's for you too.
that's
Right?
for you too.
Yeah.
Because this world will take your fire away from you if you let it. It will
You
straight
better
snuff
talk
you out
good.
like a candle. And it's sad, honestly, because there are so many brilliant minds
Mm.
and beautiful people that have so much to offer that have been told no so often
Mm.
that they don't even remember what a yes feels like, especially a yes when it comes to themselves.
Wow. Wow.
So
Wow.
that is my hope, to create these spaces for kids so that growing up, we have these healthier adults that know what it's like to live authentically and be their
Mm.
best self, whatever that looks like. I
Right.
just can't wait.
And I love that you said, and I think this is a beautiful part of your story as you create this, is you had the opportunity to explore your mental health from a
Mhm.
young age with, before the stigma and all these different things around it. I think that narrative and what you're going to be able to give to young people in that space is going to be so compelling. So I just encourage you to keep leaning into that piece of the story. All
Yeah.
right, entrepreneurs now. We're talking, we got a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners that listen to this show. So,
Mhm.
mental health for entrepreneurs. What are you seeing right now? You got your ear to the pavement, you're paying attention. What are some of the big pieces that you're seeing for these professionals, these business owners, entrepreneurs as they journey forward, and some of whom are not taking care of their mental health at all? What are you seeing out there?
Man, okay, so let's break down just basic statistics.
Mm-hmm.
1 in 5 people will be diagnosed with a mental illness this year.
Wow.
I mean,
One
you
in
have
five. Wow.
1 in 5. So literally, I could hang out with a group of friends. One of us is that person. Okay. That's number one.
Wow.
Mental illness and substance abuse will this year cost employers between 79 and 105 billion. To like that alone, that statistic alone should
Wow.
make you want to say, all right, let's address this because
Come
that's a lot of
on.
money.
Right. Right. If you weren't paying attention to anything else, at least pay attention to the dollars. You
Okay,
know.
pay attention to that. So, and
Wow.
aside from that, of course, if you don't take care of your mental, you will see results of reduced productivity,
Mm-hmm.
increased healthcare costs. I mean, of course, there are other, you
Sure.
deal with comorbid
Sure.
disorders and things like that, but this feeds into it. You'll see a lot more absenteeism. So I
Mm-hmm.
say these things to say, if you're not taking care of you, this is the result of not taking care of you or taking care of your employees.
Wow.
Um, I can never subscribe to the hustle culture because
Right.
I do believe that rest is important. But in a lot of workspaces, especially entrepreneurs, we have this, and I say we because I too have struggled with this.
Yeah.
The biggest thing that I've seen in entrepreneurs is one taking more on than you should, and you know it,
Uh,
not being able to delegate tasks because of control. I know, I get it. I'm right there.
she out here in my journal.
And not prioritizing yourself
Yeah.
or self-care. I've gotten to the point, and I have my journal right here. It's here and it's well written in. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I also have my planner right beside it. I prioritize my self-care by scheduling it. How often do we all right now, if I were to ask you, so what's your day looking like? What do you have to do? You'll list out, I have to work, I have to grocery shop, I have to do laundry. When do you say, you know what? I have to journal. I have to
Mm-hmm.
meditate. I have to go to the gym. I don't know what your self-care activities are, but when do you get to that point? And I can almost guarantee that most people, probably like 99% of people, won't say that. Why aren't
Right.
you
It
scheduling?
won't make it onto your calendar.
It won't.
Show me your calendar and I'll show you your priorities. Like that, I'm convicted even right now. I'm like, okay, what does your day look like? It's meeting this, da da da, this and that.
Yeah,
But it's like, no, have I scheduled
my self-care.
Justin, like when are you taking a nap or whatever that thing
Yeah.
is,
When are you
whatever that
sitting
thing is
down
for
and
you.
not doing any work? Maybe just, even if it's just drinking a glass of water, like you said earlier.
Right,
When are you doing that?
right,
Did you, and not saying that you have to schedule every ounce of your day, but when did you
right.
pencil in that time for yourself? Even if it's just a quick body scan and
Hmm.
you do some type of relaxation exercise. When is that? That
Yeah,
is my biggest problem with entrepreneurship. We don't prioritize self-care. We prioritize getting this done, that done, making these deadlines and stuff like that, and at the
and
end of
that's what we call a productive day.
it's not
Right?
it's
No,
not
like you said at the start, rest is productive. I
rest
think we
is
need to get
productive.
out of this binary kind of ideology around like, well, rest is this and work is this. It's like, no, your rest produces,
Yeah,
it produces life and vibrancy and creativity and sharpness, even in
absolutely.
your work. you
Absolutely.
know?
I used
Yeah.
to have this bad habit of bringing my laptop and my work to my bed.
Mm, mm-hmm.
No, first of all, it makes for horrible sleep.
Uh-huh.
That's number one.
Sure.
But two, your mind never shuts off from that
That's so good.
workspace. And now you've turned your bed, your rest space into your workspace. So you
Wow.
don't have the opportunity to separate or create some line,
Mm,
your own boundary, so
right.
that you're not working in a place that should be restful. Like
Yes.
it's these little changes that you should make because I mean, even now, sometimes I'll catch myself and I'm like, that's no. This
Right.
will remain on my desk, or
Wow.
my laptop will remain over here. I'm not taking that. Now, if I want to read in my bed, absolutely. But I
Sure.
don't want to bring my work to bed anymore. I
Right.
want
You
to
want
be
to
able
be
to shut
doing
off.
regenerative.
Yes.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
I'm hearing from this that I think is so compelling is the idea of really protecting your well-being, protecting rest. Like even when you were talking about schedule, that's what I'm hearing is okay, well, how are you protecting
Mhm.
your rest, your well-being, your mental health in your day? And then same thing with your physical space. Like how are you protecting that? In
Right.
and I'm hearing a level of intentionality around that piece that we don't talk about often enough. Could you expand on that?
We don't talk about it at all.
Mm,
Being intentional and, like I said, prioritizing your self care, making sure it's not on the back burner.
right.
You will absolutely burn yourself out if you just continue to go and go and go. Like even
Mm,
hamsters on the wheel, at some point they get off and they rest. It's tiring. You can't
right.
stay there. You have to, if you want to reach your best self, you have to prioritize these things and be
Yes.
intentional with the ways in which you take care of yourself. Like I love the focus mode feature on my phone.
Oh yeah.
At first, I
Clutch.
was like, I don't know. I could give or take it. I don't know. No, that thing is beautiful
Yeah.
because the first, at minimum, hour and a half of my day, I wake up at around 6:30 or 7 every day. But that first hour, hour and a half, it's just me. It's me.
Mm,
I'm
mm,
drinking my water. I'm doing my yoga, meditating, washing my face, brushing my teeth, and making my bed. I don't care what's going on in the world. These are
right.
things that have to happen.
Right.
I
I
cannot
love how you
stand
said
about
that. Keep going. This, like,
that.
no, this is just as important or more important than whatever else is going on out there. I love that.
If I don't now there are some days where of course I fall off the wagon. I'm not perfect, but
Sure.
um and it's funny because now people around me are starting to notice it. My brother is a big one on calling me out. If my room or my office space or any place in my house is, out of order, he's like, "What you
You
got going
good? Right.
on? Mm-mm. Let's
Yeah.
address this now because
Checking in.
I
That's
know
that's
you."
my car confession. That's my car for me. If you
Yep.
see the passenger side of my car is in disarray, check on me. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
No, that's real.
yeah,
That's real. Like, and I appreciate him for doing that. At first, I used to think it was weird. I'm like, you don't know me like that.
right.
I just was busy and I couldn't put stuff up. He's like, no, you, because you've begun this routine of prioritizing yourself,
Mm,
especially in the morning. I know that if at noon this is out of order, you didn't start your day right. Something's
right.
off. What's going on? And I can appreciate that. But this
Mm,
routine has helped me to really like hone in on my self-care skills. Like I
right.
can do this and I know that I need this. And with that, I've been feeling so much better. Like I can
Mm,
go through my day even if, things are off schedule and the things that I have in my planner don't go, completely, they're not perfect. That's
mm,
fine. I can say, you know what, but I got up. I took care of myself and I
right.
tried. I put forth my best effort. How do I know? Because I started my day with my best effort, taking care of
Right.
my best person.
Right. Wow, I love that. I would like you to speak to, because a lot of our listeners here are these big hearted, impact centered people who struggle with the me first mentality, right? Like, okay, I'm going to put me first. Cognitively, I know that it makes sense. And it's better, put my own oxygen mask on first. Okay, got it cognitively. But I think there's a disconnect
Mhm.
between the head and the heart in that to really take the actions to put yourself first. And like you said, over time, see the results of like,
Mhm.
actually, I'm showing up as a better person. I filled up my own love tank. I'm able to give more. Would you speak to these big hearted, impact centered folks who are listening and may struggle with this me first mentality?
There is nothing wrong with putting yourself first. There and the people that love you, the people that you're pouring into, they appreciate when you love on yourself. I say all the time, the best indicator of your self-care is the people that you're around. and the
Mm,
people that you impact, because they are the ones that feel your love. I mean, outside of you, the most. They get to
mm,
see you the most. They get so much of your energy, and my pastor, he used to say association breeds assimilation. So who you're around is who you become.
mm.
So as you pour into these people, you have to realize that I can't pour into them without pouring into myself. And
Right.
if I want to pour the best into them, because I want the best for them, I
Yeah.
have to want the best for myself first. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Self-care is not selfish. It's cliche to
Right.
even say that, but it's not selfish. In order for you to show up as your best self to anyone, you have to take care of yourself first.
Wow.
And
Wow.
like you said, that oxygen mask example is like, I love it, even though you hear it a million times. It's still, it's
Uh,
true. It's
yes.
true. In any situation, this is life or death. Even,
Right.
the plane, that's life or death, but so is taking care of yourself, because if you burn yourself out, it could result in life or death. We hate to
Right.
talk about it, but it's true. You have to take care of you. You
Right.
cannot, you literally cannot. And even as much as you try, I remember when I was pouring into people more than I was pouring into myself. And I
Sure.
remember coming home and feeling defeated. Even with all the good that I was doing, I would lay in my bed and still feel like I accomplished nothing.
Yeah.
Why? Because I had nothing else. And I didn't
Right.
even give myself what I needed. So I'm just
That's
pouring.
really good. And I think really good to pay attention to as a symptom, right? Like it's like,
Mhm.
oh, you start developing a cough or whatever. It's like, I think that's, you're feeling drained consistently. Something's not going right here. I want to give a couple shout outs. Kenya Thompson saying, hi, Raven. What's up,
Hey.
Kenya? Rick Pack loves the idea of giving the kids the opportunity to just be.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rick. Jamel saying facts. We got some amens in the building. Angelique Stallings, thank you for this conversation. Thank you for being here. So
Hey,
excited to
Brian.
have you. Love it, love it, love it. All right. Now, diving deeper, we talked
Okay.
about protecting your mental health, protecting your well being, your self care. That you mentioned the word boundaries. Break that down for us and give us some game, because I know of a lot of people that I'm talking to right now, even as a business coach, who are struggling with the concept of setting and keeping healthy boundaries. So, could you give us like boundaries 101?
No. No. No, like really, that is my favorite word. I love, and everyone who knows me knows this. 2-year-olds have got the game on lock. All right. They don't listen to what you're saying, first of all. We know that about 2-year-olds, because they're already doing their own thing. And they're learning themselves, they're finding themselves, and they don't care about what you have to say, because this feels good. And
Right.
I know as parents, it's probably like, please don't do this. But
Right. Well, as I mean, I have a 2-year-old, so I'm like, oh yeah, it's like okay, but just not on the
healthy
road.
boundaries, right?
But right, like other.
But they love the word no.
Yeah.
They're very adamant about what they do and do not want. If I
Mhm.
want, candy, I might throw a tantrum, but if I don't want to do that, I will tell you no over
Right.
and
Or
over
if
again.
I need my special princess spoon, real story. Right. Like this is I'm making a big deal about. Yeah, this makes sense. They
They
do have the game on lock.
they do.
They
Be
will
like
ask for
a
what
2-year-old.
they need.
Yes, and they're clear about it. And what
Yes.
they don't like, they just won't do. We know
Right.
that. Like, you could try to force them and you'll have a bigger headache on your hands than what they have. They're going to kick,
Mhm.
scream, and everything else, but they have a beautiful display of boundaries. And I don't
Mm.
care what anyone says, learn from a 2-year-old. But as far as like boundaries in the workspace, whew, I've got a lot to say about this
Come
that will
on.
be covered in all of this. Um, if you have office hours, entrepreneurs, honor your office hours. I know the temptation is there to continue to work. You don't get a gold star for burning yourself out. You do not get a
Oh, come on. You
you don't get
don't.
any
Enough
type
of this
of
shit.
reward for, overexerting yourself and giving yourself so much. Yes, you
Right.
may get stuff done, but at what cost? Do you really love you?
Mm.
At what
Mm.
cost are you willing to sacrifice for this workspace? If your
Right.
hours are 9 to 5, baby, at 5, cut it off. It is
Right.
okay. It's okay.
The
It will
work will
be there
still be there
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
It will, unfortunately.
Right, right, right.
So allow yourself to just shut off and go do something else. And that's another thing, really small tidbit. If you're constantly doing something within, your wheelhouse and you don't take a break from it, we all know what it feels like to be at a stop. It's just like, I love to dance, but if I'm constantly choreographing, my ideas are going to stop for a little bit. I need to walk
Mhm.
away.
Right,
Know this is technically number two, but know when to walk away.
right,
Recognize your limits and take that opportunity to take time for yourself.
right.
Again, you don't get a gold star for continuing to go past your limits. You don't.
Mhm.
All you do, just like if you were working out right now, going past your limits by a little bit will push you further to the next round.
Good
But if
point.
you push too far, I've had every type of injury at this point.
Yeah,
It hurts.
yeah,
Just like your mental, it will hurt. You suffer
right.
when you go too far. Stop when
Right.
it's
And
stop.
tearing a muscle is not helping you get stronger, or like,
No.
having some sort of injury. That's actually not
Now you
helping you
actually have to sit down. Now
right.
what?
Right. Now what? Right. Right.
So
That's such a great point.
those are two big things for me. And three, I think I said this earlier. If I did, I'm gonna say it again. If I didn't, well, here we go.
Right.
Delegate. You have
Yeah.
staff, you have support for a reason. Stop being
Mhm.
so afraid to reach out. This is what you built your social circle for.
Right.
You know,
Right.
like, well, you
Ask
know, our
for
relationship.
help.
I have questions. Justin, I don't know how to do this. What am I
Right.
doing? Please
Right.
help me. This is what you have these people around you for. And if you don't have those people, then you have the wrong circle. That's number
Mhm.
2.5.
Right. Right.
But yeah, delegate these things. If you
Mhm.
have employees, make sure that they are equally invested in the work that you're doing so that you don't have to do it alone. I
Right.
love the African proverb, if you want to go far, wait, if you want to go fast, you do it by yourself. If you want to go
Mm.
far, you do it with other people.
Yes.
It's very true. You cannot do this alone. There's not one person walking this earth that said, I did this by myself.
Mm. Mm.
You're a liar. You couldn't.
Right. Well, and allow yourself the grace to be human. Like you get to be human. Like please, leaders, and this is something that I struggle with for a long time. Just the vulnerability to say, "Hey, I need help."
I
And
need
needing
help.
help is not a sign of weakness. Needing help is a sign of
Yes,
humanity.
that is huge strength. Oh
Right.
my gosh. I tell people all the time, those that are able to ask for help and be vulnerable and accept, you know, both constructive criticism and accept help in general,
Right.
those are the strongest people that I know because they open themselves up to say, they first recognize their need, and then they open themselves up enough to ask and just
Yes.
put themselves out there for either the yes or the no. Hopefully it's the yes,
Hmm.
but
Right.
they open themselves up to gain.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful. That is the most beautiful human trait that there is, that vulnerability.
Right.
That's
And we're built to be in community with one another. And so the irony on the other side is that for the person who has something that you need or is able to help you in some way, it feels really freaking good to
it
be
does.
able to give something that somebody you care about needs, whether that's
There's
support or time or energy or a skill set that you have. Like I just had a business coaching session last night, and just the feeling of like, I have something that is so valuable to somebody that feels good. And they asked, they're
yes.
like, hey, I need some help, And so it was, but it felt good for me. It felt selfish,
So
because it was so fun to give.
I don't remember the exact stat but like it was this report that was done. People that volunteered or people that were able to pour into other people had better life experiences and had a better outlook at
Mm-hmm.
happiness versus people that did not pour into people. So actually helping others and asking for help can make you feel better.
Right.
So like and it's beautiful. If I can find that, I'll send it to you, but it's great.
Right.
Just
That's
knowing
awesome.
that me helping not only helped them, but it helps me. Like it literally changes my brain mattered. That's
Wow.
dope.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Want to give a shout out to Sarai in the chat. Definitely a firm believer in office hours. And something that just pings with that is for leaders, helping your staff and team honor office hours and creating a
Yes.
culture where it's like, no, like, hey, I saw you sent me an email at 8 p.m. Like, what were you doing working at 8 p.m.? Right? I don't see enough of that from leadership, setting a culture where self-care is prioritized and actually rewarded and enforced. Like, no, you're not getting a gold star for going above and beyond in those ways, in those spaces.
Mm-hmm.
What are the opportunities for leaders to create a culture where self-care and boundaries, proper boundaries, are upheld?
Like you just said, in a nice way, in a professional way, check your employees. If you do see that 8 o'clock email and y'all were done at 6, hey, I appreciate this. I admire this. I really do
Right.
value the
Nothing
work
was on
you
fire.
do. But you know what? My boss at the Durham Chamber, he always says nobody's dying on the table. And
Right.
I used to be like, what? Don't say that. That's weird. And he was like, no, there's no emergency.
Mm,
It's okay. Like, put this
right.
down. We'll table this and we'll come back to it.
Right.
And another thing that I thought was awesome that he implemented was these mental health days. He said, you don't have to do this long written email. Just shoot me a text, mental health day. Or,
Right.
whatever that looks like, even if it's a peace sign,
I
just take
love that.
that time for you. That's what's needed. That's how you create better workspaces. Like, there's no wonder why people stay at Google for so long and love it. Like, they have the little nap stations and
Uh-huh.
your mental health days, and you can work remotely or work in the pod or wherever you need to do in order for you to be your best you. But no, turn off when it's time to turn off. And
Wow.
if you are a leader, you set the tone for everything that happens in your organization. If you expect them to honor the time that is spent at work and outside of work on themselves, you need to be doing the same thing. It can't
Ooh.
always be work, work, work.
Right. You better live it.
Use
Yeah.
your
Felt
vacation
that
time.
one. Right.
Please.
I felt that one. I love that. Okay. So we're getting close to the 11 o'clock hour. I want to make sure that we leave our listeners with a few really practical steps that they can take, because I think a lot of times when we talk about mental health and self-care and all of these concepts, it can feel big. It can feel like, well, I ain't doing any of that stuff yet. But what are some really simple things that our listeners could start implementing today that would build momentum towards proper self-care and beautiful mental health, thriving mental health?
Have a few. First, if you need to, there is nothing wrong. Give yourself a lot of grace here with redirecting.
Mm-hmm.
And by redirecting, I mean, if you are dealing with burnout, start to focus on subtle life changes that have a sustainable impact.
Right.
You can totally
Time
shift.
out. Could you
Yes.
break down a little bit more? What are some of the symptoms of burnout? Like, before you get to burnout, there are some things that you're like, oh, okay, these are some things that are maybe common. So what might a person be feeling if they're on the path towards burnout? What are some of those that might be helpful?
So of course it shows up differently for everyone.
Sure.
For me personally, I am tired all the time, but I will not sleep. Like, my brain does not shut off, but I am just
Mm-hmm.
exhausted. I start noticing things like I don't eat as much,
Mm-hmm.
or even the opposite. I'll overeat
Right.
just to compensate for whatever feelings that I have not yet released.
Mm-hmm.
I found myself, like, I go to the gym every day. I'll notice that my routine, it starts to change. It'll be subtle things. Like I said, I wake up in the morning, I drink my water, I wash my face, brush my teeth, meditate, journal, do yoga. One of those things may be off. Maybe I didn't make my bed this morning. I did everything else, but I didn't make my bed. My routine starts changing quite a bit, and I'm
Right.
like, oh, okay, all right, I'm heading towards here. But the biggest thing, I personally start feeling anxious with just the thought of anything related to work. And it could be something as simple as an Instagram post. Like,
Yeah.
if I'll just completely freak out over it, and it'll be the
Yeah.
smallest thing. You know your body, and you know when it's time to stop. You know yourself enough to know your limit. It's just like in anything. Drinking, food, exercise, know your limits.
Right. Right. Right.
So you don't hurt yourself. Again, it looks different for everybody, but begin to recognize these little things that are different for you, as far as your routine, because those are usually the telltale signs that you are coming against burnout.
Yes, I love that. Well, and even a quick shout out, because especially for the entrepreneurs and business owners listening here, there are small seasons where you can sprint, right?
Yeah.
Like small seasons, but like you can't live at that pace. And I think we live at like, 80-hour work week. And like, that's no. Like if there are some times where you're like in launch mode or whatever, and you can do a week that is going to put some extra strain on your self and body, but you can't live like that. And you better have some rest planned on the other side of
Please.
that launch, or
It's not
whatever that thing
sustainable.
is.
It's I think immediately of Usain Bolt, fastest man alive. Yeah.
Right.
He can't keep that speed. He cannot maintain that speed. At some point, he has to slow down, and then at another point, he has to stop, and he
Right.
has to refuel.
Right. And that's certainly not how you run a marathon. He would be awful
No,
at a marathon.
no, cheetahs, super
Right.
fast, but at some point, and they can only do that for what their top speed is, like 17 seconds, and
Right.
then they're done.
Right.
Yeah, be like the cheetah. Stop.
Right.
You can do the sprint, but at some point, you do need to just chill out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't sustain it.
I love it. Okay.
And
So bring it home with a couple more tips for our people. And then I know we got to sign off here. So I want to make sure that we get a couple more things out to the audience. What do you want them to know?
as far as the tips,
Yes. Yes.
okay, so we kind of got into it just then, but my second tip would be to take a break. So the first one was redirect. The second one would be to take a break.
Mm.
Regain control. If you feel yourself facing burnout and you feel like you have lost control of the situation, pause, just stop for a second and realize that you do have the ability to solve your own problems. You can.
Wow.
You absolutely can.
That's really empowering.
You are not doomed to stay in that state forever.
Yeah.
You don't have to. Give yourself permission to come out of that state. You have the wisdom, you have the tools, you have the support in any situation to accept that there are situations that are beyond your control. But in this moment, there are certain things that I can control. I can control when I wake up in the morning and start my day and how I start my day. I can control not taking my laptop to bed because I don't want to continue working and I need to shut down. These are things that I can control so that I don't have to deal with burnout. And the last thing, and it's very simple, be open and be honest. Your support system is there for a reason, to support you. They lift you as you lift them. You can't do it alone, and neither can they. Especially with different organizations, they can't do it without their leader. So if you do need help, you need to be open and communicate the issues that you're struggling with so that you don't have to face them alone. Sometimes the person sitting next to you that you're afraid to open up to has the answer that you're looking for and have not been able to find. Reach out, seek help, whatever that looks like. They can help you to better manage whatever stressful situations that you're facing, because honestly, it's just like a picture. There are two eyes better on this than one. Yeah, I mean, two set of eyes on this that are better than one. There are certain things that you may not be able to see that this person can see. Lean on them and don't be afraid to lean on them. The strongest people I know give themselves the opportunity to be supported by others.
Come on. That's it. And I needed to hear that so badly today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Raven, where do people connect with you? How do they hear more and find out more about what you're doing? Because you're brilliant and everyone needs to know you.
Thank you. Of course, my social media, everything is Raven _Nicole_. That's my Twitter, my Instagram, my TikTok, or
Mhm.
Raven Gibbs on Facebook. But if you want weekly mindfulness tips, I send them out every Monday at 9 o'clock in the morning. You can subscribe, and I don't spam because who has the time?
Right,
Um,
right.
you can find me at Mindfulness Movement NC, like North Carolina.org,
Okay.
and get all of the tips about burnout and relaxing and dealing with coworkers and just everything. We talk about everything, even eating mindfully. I'm hungry, so you know.
I love that. And tell me again the website. I'm going to drop it in the chat real quick for our listeners.
Yeah, that is Mindfulness Movement NC.org.
Mind Movement NC.org.
Mm-hmm.
Dropped it in the chat. Raven, thank you for being here today. You are incredible. This was super helpful for me, and I know for our audience as well. Thank you.
I'm glad. I'm so appreciative of you. You know, you're like my favorite person. Star. You get the gold star for today.
Yes, yes. So good. And LinkedIn, thanks so much for being here today. You could have been anywhere for this hour, and time is the most precious thing that we have. So thank you for spending it here together. I hope it was helpful for you all. Share this out on your feed if you think your people would find it helpful. And love you all. See you soon.